We are live.
We are live.
We are live.
We
It's
are.
been 5 seconds. Okay, here we
We
are.
are live.
Welcome, peoples. Good evening to you and all of yours and all of that stuff. What am I doing? What am I doing?
Hit the music.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
All right, all right, all right.
Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Once again, we are here on a Tuesday getting ready to record our discussions on this, the Painfully Honest Tech podcast. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL, and I'd like to thank you for being here. I'd like to thank my good friend Zach for being here tonight, as well as my good friend Viper. We're going to have all kinds of amazing things to discuss this evening, even though there's not really anything going on in the world of tech. One thing that I thought we'd do is maybe we would just get some questions from the people. But there are some other things that we could talk about. I mean, there have been tangential things, smaller things that have been going on in tech or somewhere around the vicinity of tech that we could talk about. I mean, last week we had SpaceX, NASA launched Americans into space from America for the first time. America for 9 years, so that was cool. I mean, that's pretty monumental. I don't think it's well, no, it's easy to forget how incredible the fact that we can fly into space.
It's
Is-
amazing the process. Like, it's not just like, okay, an hour countdown, right? It's like it was like a 6-hour process there on the week when I watched it on Saturday.
Yeah. No, I don't what on Apple TV Plus. I watched For All Mankind, and which was a pretty decent show, although I had my issues with it. But it did a nice job of sort of showing us like how difficult it was, what people had to go through to get the space program up off the ground in the first place, and how many. Well, it was like a decades-long process, really.
It's been 9 years since the United States, or I guess NASA, has sent somebody
Right.
into the
Yeah, I guess we've been hitching rides with other countries.
yeah. I guess NASA has been hitching rides with Russia, and now you got this partnership with SpaceX, aka Elon.
Yeah.
and Boeing.
Yes.
I didn't know Boeing was doing space stuff. That's cool.
I think that a company like that, they've probably always had some kind of interest in building the technology or something like that.
I mean, they're halfway there with their planes, so
yeah,
why not just keep on going, right?
exactly. But space is. I'm glad we went back. I'm glad it's something that we can talk about.
You know what the best part is, and if you understand the reference, the two guys that they sent up are names Bob and Doug. So if you know who Bob and Doug McKenzie of SCTV,
Yeah. Well, there was a whole movie, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a movie and there's a show, and that's Rick Moranis, and I can't remember the other guy.
Yeah, I can't remember the other guy's name either. But there was a song that was popular on the radio when I was a kid. It was a Takeoff, eh?
Bunch of hosers.
Yeah. So anyway, Bob and Doug are in space, and maybe we'll get what are the two guys from Bill and Ted will be next.
Yeah. Viper, how are you?
Viper is good. Viper is good. Viper is here. Viper is live again, which seems to be a regular occurrence these days.
You're just constantly live on
Constantly.
YouTube and
Pretty much.
yeah.
It's a good thing.
Right. Keep him busy.
Yeah. I have been like today, my sleep schedule has been so effed up, right? that I've been going to sleep at like 2 a.m. and then waking up at 5 or 6 a.m. and then having to sleep like during the day, and then like the whole cycle starts over again. So I woke up at 5 this morning and did stuff for a few hours, and then I had to go back to sleep. So like the time that I would have normally gotten up, I went back to sleep for a few hours. And then before the show, after I had dinner, I like was checking out some YouTube videos, laying down on my bed, and fell asleep again. So when you guys messaged me on Twitter, that's what woke me up.
We're like, where's the link? It was show starting in 20 minutes, and my computer wasn't even working properly. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's been that. Yeah, Samsung has announced that they have Samsung Access phone subscriptions now, so you can get the latest and the greatest phone, and all you have to do is pay exactly the same amount of money that you would otherwise to get the phone.
What?
Yeah, it's like, so they say for the S20 Ultra, it's $48 a month. For the S20 Plus, $42 a month. S20, $37 a month. And,
so it sounds like it's similar to the iPhone upgrade program that Apple does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can. The only difference is you're not saving any money. You're not, like, nothing is changing in terms of what you're paying. But instead of having to do that trade-in thing that they do every year, where they give ridiculous amounts of money off for trade-in of like the previous year's devices or whatever, now they're just trying to go that Apple subscription thing, which I guess it makes doesn't make sense.
Well, if you don't have the money to be balling out and buying phones up front, then it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but I mean, my fiscal conservative says, the tiny little fiscal conservative that lives in my head says, well, if you don't have the money to buy the phone, then you shouldn't have the phone.
Well, I mean, I'm financing my vehicle. I didn't go and drop $35,000 all at once.
Well, I know, but I mean, there's a big difference between a vehicle and a smartphone.
You're right. One has more features.
Yes.
And one probably is in focus all the time. Samsung.
Yeah, the headlights stay in focus on your vehicle.
By the way, speaking of Samsung, did you send your phone to my boy Viper?
That'll be a negative.
Oh my God. He's
That'd be a negative.
No. Oh man, they said April. It's June.
Wow.
I know, right? Crazy. So, for the record, y'all, we are less than 8 minutes into the podcast, and Jason has already pissed off Alan Mobley. This might be a record right here. This is a record.
Who'd you piss off? What?
No. I think Alan shows up pissed.
Alan is already mad. 8
He just shows up.
Alan is mad.
I mean, I don't know. Like, there's something interesting going on there because he shows up mad, and then just goes. Right, literally the same program that Apple does, and you're bashing it. I wouldn't do the Apple program either, man.
Let's be really clear. We like Alan, and for those of you that are listening, it's because we do the show live every Tuesday at 8:00 Eastern on the YouTube, and then it goes out as audio on Thursdays.
Yes.
So if you want to join us, so for tonight we kind of dabbled in a few tech things we're going to talk about, and then we will also be talking about other things. But if you want to be part of that conversation, be part of the live studio audience, join us on Tuesdays at 8:00. By the way, Jason, do we have a sponsor?
We do have a sponsor. The sponsor, as always, is Audible. Finest purveyor of audiobooks, available anywhere in the United States of America and elsewhere in this world.
Honest question: is there anybody else that does audio? I don't think so.
There are some smaller services. Apple, I think, has audiobooks as well.
Okay.
The thing is, like, Audible started out, and they were a private company, and then they were bought by Amazon.
Gotcha.
So
our sponsor today is Audible.
Yes, Audible is our sponsor. For a free month of Audible, you go to audibletrial.com/painfully honest tech. And you can get 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible originals just for showing up and considering becoming a subscriber to their service. And I have been a subscriber to their service for at least 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because
so you got it when the internet first launched. I'm just kidding. The internet's older than that.
Yeah, no, because I used it a lot when I So I taught a class at my old job where we read 4 novels in 4 weeks, and I taught that class twice a year. And for my students, it was all they had to do. All they had to do was read and like write some stuff. But for me, I had to do my job and, you know, all the other stuff that I had to do and read 4 books. So I started augmenting my reading materials with Audible, and I just kept going because I used to think Audible was just like cheating, but it's not. In fact, some books lend themselves really well to the spoken venue. Where I remember listening to a book called House of God, which was sort of a satire of 1970s medical residency stuff. And the voice was really, really sarcastic, sardonic, and I don't know that I would have gotten that much of a lot of the sort of humor and sarcasm had I read it instead of heard it, because the reader was very, very good. So anyway, I mean, I think I'm halfway done with this 3rd book in the Thrawn trilogy.
You're still on that.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, there are all kinds of ways that you can listen to audiobooks now. It used to be like you could really only listen on your phone, you know, or your iPod or whatever. But now, like, Alexa will hook you up and read through the Echo or the Echo Show or whatever, and there's all different kinds of ways that you can do it. You can do it with Sonos, you can do it but I find that if I don't have headphones on and just have it stuck in my ears, then I start to like sort of halfway pay attention.
Yeah, I have to have headphones in or earbuds or be in like a quiet room, like my studio door closed or something like that, and have it going through my iPhone or something like that. Yeah.
So I've been a 3 book a month Audible subscriber for, you know, this would have been, I would have just finished my 10th year at my job.
Wow.
So I started not long after I started there to help out with that class, and then I use Audible for stuff that I know that I wouldn't read if in book form. Like history and true crime stuff and all that kind of stuff, as well as, like, you know, just books that I want to read, but I've got so many other books that I want to read that I just wouldn't pick them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm listening to 2 motivational kind of like transform your life, thinking different type book kind of things. One of them came as a suggestion from one of our viewers, and like it's totally the kind of book I wouldn't read, but I love listening to it. So
yeah, I've got I've got one of those kinds of books in my library right now. I haven't listened to it yet. No, I don't want to push notification. Anyway, it's something like it's one of those motivational books that's like, you know, how to not give a crap what anybody thinks about you, kind of books.
Yeah, the one I'm reading right now is called Own the Day, Own Your Life by Aubrey Marcus. It's really good.
So is it like focusing on
it's everything from mental health to physical health. There's a strong part about physical health. So get out of bed and get in the sunlight right away in the morning. Right. Drinking a mixture of water mixed with like lemon, squeeze a lemon and like salt to replenish. Like that's the first thing you should be putting in your body before anything else, before even your coffee. And I've found a difference with weight loss and just curbing cravings and everything like that and stuff like that. So it's really good. It was recommended to me by a friend of mine, Greg, who's I won't say his last name, but he's a regular listener, watcher on our channels. He's subscribed to all of us, and I know him from my days of selling and everything like that. So
right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at my Audible account right now, and I have 6 hours and 25 minutes left in the Thrawn book.
There you go.
And that's like more than halfway finished. So, but the book that I picked up, let's see. Well, there's the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
There goes the monetization.
That's the name of the book. I mean, I can't make it up.
Alan Jackson with the $6.99 super chat, and probably a good transition from talking about Audible. What are you guys looking forward to?
I just found the book though.
Oh, what is it?
The Courage to be Disliked.
That suits you know as well as I do. That suits you perfectly.
Yes. So The Courage to be Disliked. It's a Japanese thing. I guess the Japanese authors, and so I'm interested to get in with that. See, I also used to listen to the audiobooks when I commuted. Like I'd listen in the car, and then I'd listen on my headphones, and then I'd listen when I was walking around in my office building or whatever.
Their app makes it simple because I'll start listening like on my iPhone, and then I'll bring up the app and everything and the book on my Android, and it'll be like, "Do you want to pick up where you left off on your iOS?" Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So the app is really good like that. But anyway, transition. Alex Jackson says here, $6.99 super chat. And we'll start with Viper because he's so quiet.
Whoa! Oh my goodness!
What are you guys looking forward to for WWDC?
Ooh, okay. So WWDC 2020, which is happening in about 20 days. What I'm looking forward to most, iOS 14. Hopefully we get some picture-in-picture action on iPhone. I highly doubt it, but one can hope and dream. Yeah. I'm also looking forward to seeing what will the AirPods Studio bring, which is Apple's over-the-ear headphones. Also, I'm looking to see if there will be a possible unveiling of Apple AR glasses. There were some hints that might be unveiled at WWDC. Don't know if that will happen or not. But yeah, those are just a few of the things that I'm looking forward to. What about you guys?
I'm simple, coming from someone who's almost completely transitioned over to using my iPhone the most. I'm looking forward to more of stuff that I'm used to having on my Android available on my iOS. So maybe more widget type stuff, integrations like that. I'm just more excited about what's going to be coming with iOS 14. I know that there's leaks, this and that, and everything like that, but I'm looking forward to the software stuff. And I won't lie, I'm looking forward to seeing the headphones. I want to see how, actually, I'm really interested to see how Apple's going to market these over-the-ear headphones, considering they already do the Beats thing. So I'm mostly interested in the software and then what's going to happen with the iPhone and improvements and this and that, and also the headphones.
I'm going to take 1,000% credit that I don't deserve for Zach switching over to iPhone.
You converted me, buddy. You converted me. But it's just when you get into that whole creator life thing, even though I'm not doing it a lot lately, it's so simple. My wife looked at me today and she goes, "I don't know you anymore. You want me to get an Apple?" I said, "No." But anyway, yeah.
I'm still rocking the LG V60.
Good review on that. By the way, I liked your review on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. It's still like there are small little things about how LG has like done their thing on Android. Like LG's Android skin used to be terrible. It's not terrible anymore, and some of the things that it does are really cool. I kind of just am still enjoying using that, but I do have like 3 iPhones next to me as well. So right now, here's the iPhone SE and the iPhone SE and the iPhone 11.
Oh, you have both generations SE there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a iPhone SE Gen 1 in 2020 video, as well as iPhone SE 1 versus iPhone SE 2.
Cool.
Yeah. The V60, you're right, Franklin. This thing is unbelievably huge. 6.8 inches. 6.8 inches. And
it's gotta be heavy. It's gotta be heavy. Is it heavy?
It is pretty heavy. I mean, compared to like, it's not as heavy as it could be.
There's that word again, heavy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's when you put the dual screen case on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a weapon.
It's a doorstop at that point, but it's good. It's good. I mean, I have really been enjoying it though. Yeah, usually by this time I will have gone back to an iPhone. And even if I'm still reviewing the phone, I just won't have my SIM card in it. But I still have my SIM card in this one, so I don't know.
Mhm.
We'll see. But yeah, it's a really good phone, and I'm just amazed at how little people like pay attention to LG. It's LG's own fault. I'm not saying anybody else is at fault. It's LG's own fault that they don't get any kind of real recognition. Like I went to their webpage
Yeah.
to get some stuff to use for B-roll and all that kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
And they don't mention the quad DAC headphone jack thing anywhere on like the feature splash page of like they talk about the camera, they talk about the dual screen, they talk about all this other stuff. There is not a single mention of the headphone jack in there.
They make it difficult to dig for that kind of stuff. They do a lot of stuff on the back end with carriers and the people that are in the stores selling it. Because I saw it year after year, and to this day I could call up one of my guys that runs a Bell store. They'll give incentives, $100 Visa gift card or MasterCard or whatever it is for every device that they sell. And they'll put up the odd, 8x11 poster in the store. But like you said, other than at the store level, I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw an LG commercial that wasn't for like a dishwasher or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Or TV.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the last time I saw a television commercial for an LG phone. I see Pixel stuff all the time. Obviously see iPhone. I see Samsung stuff. But I can't remember the last time I see Huawei stuff. I mean, up here in Canada, right?
Sure.
But I can't remember the last time I saw an LG commercial on television. Viper, I don't know if you're a cord cutter or whatever, but when was the last time you saw an LG phone commercial?
Listen, Zach, you know that me and Jason have had this conversation over and over and over again. LG does not market in the US, so that's why you haven't seen any commercials, because they don't exist. For whatever reason, LG have practically conceded the North American market to Samsung and Apple and whoever else is over here, because they don't care. They literally don't care about marketing and advertising their phones. So
they sell a lot of mid and lower range phones. So I think that they still sell a lot of phones. It's kind of as I think they've just kind of figured out that like, oh, if we keep the cost down and don't spend too much on marketing, and we can still do the flagship phones, and they'll do well in other parts of the world, and we can have a presence in the US, but as soon as we start paying big bucks for advertising and marketing, then it becomes a losing proposition. The last LG commercial for a V series phone that I remember seeing was the V40 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think it was the V40. It might have been the V30 actually, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt did this thing where he's running around New York City or something, and
I remember that one. Yeah,
he's like jumping around and music is happening, and he's like playing drums, and then he's it was kind of a cool commercial, but I think I only saw it on TV one time.
I have to acknowledge this really quick because there's somebody just showed up in the chat that I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.
Simply the Beth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
It's been forever.
It has. So Tech for Your Needs asks, is the LG V60 on your top 5 of this year?
Ask you that.
I would have to say yes, most definitely. I mean, depending on what happens with the rest of the year, it might be top 3. So, yeah, it just depends on what happens the rest of the year. This is a very weird year for the smartphone. It's a weird year for everything, apparently, but but the smartphone in particular. Now, we got to get back to the question of WWDC. Like, what am I looking forward to? Honestly, like I haven't been paying that much attention, except to like sort of scan the rumors about the AirPods Studio or whatever they want to call them, and I'm anxious to see what they do with the AirPods Studio. As always, I'm a little trepidatious about whether or not they'll be as good as they want them to be. But I mean, so the AirPods were good and amazing in some ways, and good in other ways. The AirPods Pro, I thought they were home run. So we're sort of like, there's a 50-50 chance that the AirPods Studio will be awesome. But one thing I noticed when I was doing a live stream on Amazon, if you guys don't know, I live stream on Amazon 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes with other folks like Travis MCP and folks like that. And Travis and I were doing a live stream on Sunday, and we ended up on the Beats Studio Wireless page for Amazon. And they only had, of the like 10 different colors that they advertised on that page, only one of them was available to purchase through Amazon. Others were, there were a couple others that were available through third-party sellers. Some were just like not available. So I'm wondering, does that mean that the Apple Studio, AirPod Studio Wireless are going to take the place of the Beats Studio Wireless?
I don't know if it's going to be that quick of a transition because the Beats name is still very, that name alone sells.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like Nike Jordan, you know, and I don't know if it's going to be that quick of a transition to get rid of the Beats name. I know Viper's got some sort of insight about this and everything, but I don't know if I really buy into the whole speculation of getting rid of the Beats name.
Well, the thing is, the Studio Wireless are pretty long in the tooth at this point because they came out around the same time as the original AirPods. They and the AirPods were the first to have the W1 chip inside, and so they're a little long in the tooth at this point. And so it's time for a refresh. And if you as a company are you going to refresh the Beats Studio Wireless and put out your own over-the-ear headphones, or are you going to start combining the lines? Because the Beats Studio Wireless still sell for $350.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, after having used the Anker Soundcore Q10s and Q20s, Viper's got the Q10s on right now. I can tell you right now that the $35, $40 Q10s like stomp all over Beats Studio Wireless.
It's true.
And
very true.
I like the Beats Studio Wireless. I have a pair. I got them when I got my iMac Pro. Right, you got a free pair. It was like back to school something or other, and I like them. They're very comfortable. The noise cancellation is pretty good, but after having used the Q20s and the Q10s for a bit, and then throwing the Beats on, I was like, wow, these sound really trashy. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what Apple does, because I can't see them refreshing the Beats Studio Wireless line and coming out with Studio Pods.
So our boy John Prosser put out the tweet a month or so ago, talking about how Apple would be gradually phasing out the Beats brand. I have no reason to believe that is not the case. I'm actually surprised that the Beats brand has held on for this long, but they did have major name recognition in the audio industry, so I guess I can't be too surprised. However, the AirPods brand itself has now grown to be bigger than the Beats brand. So knowing that the AirPods brand is bigger than the Beats brand right now, it really doesn't make sense for Apple to have both brands. I mean, the AirPods brand is more popular, it sells more, it's just doing bigger things than the Beats brand is. And I don't really see the whole like needing of those two brands to coexist, at least not in the audio hardware department. Now, obviously, we still have Beats One on Apple Music and things like that, and that stuff will live on. But as far as having separate hardware studio entities, I don't see the need for it, especially with the explosion of the AirPods brand. There's just no need for Beats anymore in the hardware space.
All I can say is Apple sells a ton of AirPods to people who have iPhones, but I would bet that the number of people who buy Beats products and have Android phones is much higher than that. I mean, like percentage wise. So that's the only reason I could think for them to want to keep Beats like sort of stringing along, is because not many people who use an Android phone are going to buy the AirPods, right? And yet the Beats are more a traditional sort of like wireless headphone kind of thing. So,
oh, I gotta stop you. I gotta stop you right there. And why I have to stop you is because you do realize that the AirPods, the overall AirPods like wireless earbuds, whatever the case may be, they are the #1 Bluetooth wireless selling earbuds in the entire world. And the only reason why Apple doesn't have a #1 selling headphone in the entire world because it doesn't exist. When it does exist, and it will probably outsell anything that Beats is doing by 5-1.
But there's still people that are brand loyalists. So they don't care if they may not even know or recognize or care that Apple and Beats are one and the same kind of thing or one with the same thing. They just want something that says that's got the Beats name on it. There's got to be a huge segment like that.
Well, see, I think part of it too is the AirPods are the best-selling wireless headphone. You're right, but the iPhone, by and large, is the best-selling single model of phone. Right. So there are more iPhones there are more Android phones than there are iPhones. But the iPhone by itself, I mean, the iPhone by itself sells a ton more than any one single model of any Android phone.
Correct. Right.
So what I'm saying is a lot of the people who buy AirPods are going to be in that Apple category, but there's still like a lot more people who have Android phones that might be buying Beats, or they might be buying something else. I don't know, but my point is that if Apple gets rid of Beats and just goes solely with the AirPods line, then they might be sort of taking some customers out of the ecosystem.
And what I'm saying is that knowing that AirPods are the #1 selling wireless earbuds in the world, Android people are buying AirPods too. It's not, I mean, obviously the majority of iPhone owners, sure, but there are Android people buying AirPods as well. And I just told you that AirPods are the #1 wireless earbuds being sold across the entire globe. And so what I'm saying is that even though what you're saying is that Beats probably have more products out there right now because they cater to Android and iPhone and all that stuff, the only reason why Apple doesn't have a #1 selling over-ear headphones because it don't exist. When it does exist, if it's like half as good as AirPods are, which we have no reason to believe it won't be, but if it's half as good as AirPods are, they're going to sell like hotcakes. Hey, regardless, depending on pricing and things.
See, this is where it's going to be interesting though, because like,
oh, yes.
The AirPods cost when they were brand new $159, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was, and that price has come down a little bit, but that normalized the $150 price point for a set of earbuds, right? Before that, $150 was a lot of money to spend for a pair of earbuds. There are plenty of established brands and models in the $350 range with wireless noise canceling, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So it's entirely possible that Apple could come out and dominate that market, but it would be Apple coming from nowhere in the market, in that particular market segment, and jumping over Beats and Bose and Sony to become #1. So I mean, and it's a $350 price, like that's a much smaller pool of consumers.
I think you also need to look at what consumers know and understand. So for example, I haven't seen the actual article. I'm referring to a tweet from our friend Gamesky, where CNN brought out a list of their top headphone picks, and they listed Samsung, Bose, Beats, Apple, like
AirPods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So, and like I said, Beats is in there because it's a name that people know. I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm interested in seeing how they market them and how they transition if they really are getting rid of the Beats name. But I just think this kind of reminds me of the conversation that we had about how Samsung was supposedly getting rid of the Note, right? Which would be complete suicide.
Well, the whole getting rid of Beats is just a gradual thing anyway. That's not going to happen overnight. Yeah. However, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Anything that Apple can bring out product-wise that integrates directly with iPhone and the Apple ecosystem as a whole, mm-hmm. anything they bring out that integrates directly with iPhone and that ecosystem has the chance to dominate in product category.
Yes, as long as exactly. If they can bring that across, that hey, these are going to sound as awesome as your Beats, and all you have to do is turn them on, then that's huge, right?
Over with. Yep.
Exactly. No, I completely agree with you. Yeah.
The Beats Studio Wireless. The Beats Studio Wireless 3 that's out right now, they're functionally, in terms of how they integrate with your Apple ecosystem devices, is no different than the AirPods. It's exactly the same. Same thing with the new Power Beats, and I think the new Beats Pro or whatever they're called.
Yeah, but Beats already has an established reputation before all that situation happened. But like I said, right now, AirPods is the number one audio brand for Apple. It's not Beats, it's AirPods. So when these AirPods Studio comes out, that is going to completely change the over-ear headspace when they do come out. That's the headspace over-ear market. Yeah.
I tell you what, though, if they come out with only white. If they come out with only white, then it's not going to dominate any space.
Yeah,
because I think people are willing to, like, earpods are a little are smaller, so you're willing to kind of deal with that. But man, when you want me to wear giant white headphones, no.
Do you really think it matters, Jason? Are we really going to say it actually will matter? It's not going to matter.
Well, you can send them. You can send them up to Color Grade, or what's that company? Colorware.
But then you have to pay $350 for the headphone, and then you have to pay $200 to Colorware, and then it's a $550 like probably like good, but not really that good.
Yeah,
pair of headphones, right? So
we have a super chat.
I know, but I wanted to get to Dion's question first.
Sure.
Dion asks, why do I see all athletes and coaches in the NFL with AirPods? Not one of them does Samsung Buds, and I find that odd. Well, I think part of it is AirPods are fashionable.
Mm-hmm.
AirPods are easy. And so that I think a lot of athletes and sports figures sort of set trends and reinforce trends. So I think that's one of the reasons why you see AirPods. But it wasn't long ago that you turn on the TV and every single pro basketball player walking out on the floor would be wearing either Power Beats or Beats Studio or something, so, but that was all product placement. So sometimes Apple doesn't pay people to wear their products. I know that Beats and other companies have. The phone companies there was the famous like Gal Gadot Huawei thing where she
from iPhone. I love my wife.
She got lit up by the Marquez Brownlee Twitter police.
And then she blocked him. He's like, "Why do
wow?"
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, this was like maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it was like last year or whatever. Yeah,
Gal Gadot was being sponsored by Huawei, and part of it was like pimping the phone on social media,
Twitter. Yeah, it was a tweet.
Yeah, so there was this tweet that went out and it said, "Oh, geez, I love my Huawei phone. It's so awesome." But the tweet, it always tags the operating system that you're tweeting from, and so it said from an iPhone. And Marquez Brownlee called her out, and
circled it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like any kind of great tragedy or anything like that, but it was funny.
It was ironic. Yeah.
But she got lit up. She got lit up.
And she blocked him. He sent out a tweet like an hour later saying, "I got blocked by Wonder Woman." It's just so funny.
There are worse people in the world to be blocked by, I guess.
Yeah. I like her. She's pretty.
That is true. And so I watched Batman versus Superman and then Justice League back to back.
Dude, Snyder Cut next year.
I know. That's why I wanted to see Justice League again, because I wanted to have it a little bit more fresh in my mind. What was the difference between
Justice League is not that bad. It's not that bad.
I will tell you this. Watching Batman versus Superman and then going straight into Justice League is trash. Because Batman versus Superman I mean, it's a pretty good movie. Yes, Jesse Eisenberg should be like banished from planet Earth or playing Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But Batman versus Superman had some really good moments in there. And it was enjoyable to watch.
The Snyder Cut apparently is 4.5 hours long, but they're going to break it up into a 6-episode miniseries.
Right.
Apparently. That's awesome.
Yep. Whoa, Jason. Whoa. Did you just say that Batman vs. Superman was a good movie?
I thought it was a good movie.
I said compared to Justice League.
Do you bleed?
Batman vs Superman was absolute trash. It was only made bearable by the extended edition that came out on Blu-ray.
Well, that's what I watched last week or Sunday night. But my point is, now you're talking to the guy who owned the Batman versus Superman Jeep Renegade. So
I saw.
Yeah. So I drove that car around for a year.
That doesn't mean the movie was good though.
I'll tell you what. The whole movie was not good. There are parts of the movie that are really pretty solid.
Yeah.
So I give it that. But Justice League, especially after we've kind of learned more about what the Snyder Cut is going to be like, you could see so much more easily where stuff got chopped out.
He's gonna have Darkseid, which is awesome.
All right, I got a very important question from my man Jason. I got a very important question. So, which movie to you was better, Jason? Batman versus Superman or Justice League?
Batman versus Superman.
Stop it! Stop lying to the people, Jason.
Batman versus Superman, like I said, it has some moments where it's good,
Lord.
and I enjoyed watching it.
Oh no!
Okay,
Justice League was painful.
since we're talking about since we're talking about worse things, Viper, what was worse, Justice League or the last season of Game of Thrones?
Oh, Game of Thrones by far.
Yeah. I have to say that as time has gone on,
Oh boy!
that final season of Game of Thrones has just not set well with me. I think it was last week. I saw an article that was commemorating the anniversary of the last episode, and the entire article was about how ticked off people were. And I mean, those two dipwads who ran the show, they were supposed to they were handed the keys to the Star Wars kingdom. And then they give that interview where they're like, we didn't know what was going on. Once we ran out of George R.R. Martin stuff, we were just guessing.
All right.
So Star Wars people were like, yank.
The podcast has officially gone off the rails. But anyway, I'm looking forward to the Snyder Cut. Apparently 20 million has been handed to Zack Snyder and his team to add in effects, and obviously things that were cut will be put in different filters, and it's supposed to be this is all rumors. I don't know how much of this actually has been confirmed, but apparently I guess a plan is supposed to be a 6-part total of about 4.5 hours, which is crazy.
So one thing that I know, and this is something that we forgot. All of the promo stuff up to a certain point, like we would see the black Superman outfit.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then that all got taken away, and Superman just, there's the mustache CGI thing, and Superman just suddenly becomes Superman again.
I hope they fix that. I hope they fix that mustache.
Well, I would imagine. I'm only interested in the Snyder Cut if the majority of the stuff that Joss Whedon put in gets taken out, and we just get what Zack Snyder intended for the movie to be in the first place. That's the only way I'm interested in it, because Joss Whedon, I mean, he's got his own style. He does his own thing. There are way too many one-liners in that movie. Oh my God.
My man.
I wanted to punch Ezra Miller in the face. Just terrible. But
I mean, that movie
right,
for
though. Justice League without the Wonder Twins, it's not a thing. Activate Wonder Twin powers. Activate.
I will tell you
a crappy movie.
I will tell you something that Joss Whedon made or had a hand in that is absolutely stunning and amazing. Buffy. Oh, that series is awesome.
You know what's better than that?
What's that?
Well, there are actually two: Dollhouse and Firefly.
What? Huh? Dollhouse. What is Dollhouse?
It's a Joss Whedon Fox series that he did right after Buffy.
Oh.
Yeah. Dollhouse. It ran for one season. It was awesome. It ended on a cliffhanger, and then Fox canceled it.
Speaking of cut out movies and everything, do you guys remember all the original trailer stuff for Rogue One? There was so much. If you look at the original trailers that they cut out,
right?
There's a whole part where the main character, I can't remember her name, she's walking on the platform there, and then the TIE fighter comes up, and it's like, where was that part?
Yeah. I know they heavily massaged that film before it came out.
And despite that, Rogue One actually ended up being a pretty good movie.
I like, I watched Solo
Oh my
last
God.
weekend before last. I tell you what,
Hmm.
Solo might be my favorite of the Disney Star Wars movies.
You have no soul.
It was the only one that really felt like a Star Wars movie. One.
What?
I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, Scott is right. Eliza Dushku went on to play the lead in Dollhouse. So if you haven't watched Dollhouse and you're a Joss Whedon TV fan, then you got to go get your Dollhouse on.
I'm a Buffy fan.
If you haven't watched Firefly, then I don't know what you've been doing with your life, because those are two of the best like one season TV shows ever. And it just was criminal that I don't know if it was because they were on Fox and Fox just wasn't willing to like invest the money or give them enough rope to get the audience, but they were beloved by critics and like the fans that watched them, but they didn't get big numbers. So Fox canceled both of them. But Firefly went on to like that film Serenity, which was also a really good film.
Okay. So I want to transition things here. First of all, from what I can see here, there are 91. Okay, just dropped to 86.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, there's 86 plus of you here with us tonight. Thank you for being here. And again, if you guys want to be part of the live show, it's Tuesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern on the Painfully Honest Tech podcast channel. Then the audio portion of this goes out on your favorite audio platform. Please do us a favor, especially on Apple Podcasts. Give us a good rating because, it makes us feel good.
And it helps other people find the podcast.
But here's the part of the podcast and tonight's show that I'm going to tell you right now. It may get uncomfortable, and I'm not purposely telling you that it's going to get comfortable, but it may get uncomfortable for some of you. And Viper, Jason and I, we went back and forth about this since I think yesterday. We've been going back and forth with our chats back and forth. We feel, given the climate of within the last 7 days, 10 days, I guess, 7 days, of what's been happening, particularly within the United States, that it's up to us to voice whatever we're feeling, provide some answers, what each of us may or may not be doing. And mods, please allow people to say what they want to say within the chat, obviously within reason. But it's up to us to now get a little uncomfortable because conversations need to be had,
Well, I mean, there's tech and there's movies and there's the fun stuff. And that's what I think a lot of people come to listen to the podcast or watch the live show about. But, it would feel strange and disingenuous to just kind of like pretend that everything was just
that things aren't happening outside
going on. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's appropriate, as Zach said, to just talk about it a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. If people don't feel like talking about it, then we can just kind of do it and move on. But yeah, we've got an interesting group of people on the podcast, an interesting group of folks who listen and watch the podcast. So yeah, Zach, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, okay. So it was either last Monday or Tuesday, I can't recall. George Floyd was being arrested by officers in Minneapolis, had a knee put on his neck for, I think it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds. We'll say 9 minutes. And he died at the hands of those people. It's not right. It's not the first time that police officers have treated people of color in this way. And I've been doing a lot of searching myself. How can I contribute or try to make things different? Without going into a lot of details, and I don't want to make this about me, I grew up in I'll just say it the way it is, a very racist household. So I heard people within my family use different derogatory terms, refer to people certain ways, judge people, this and that, mutter things under their breath. And it still happens to this day within my family. I always promised myself that if I had kids, I would instill better values on them. I have a 5-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old son, and I've opened up the dialogue with them. And I've asked them because they've seen me watching live coverage. They've seen me watching videos. They see me scrolling through Twitter. They've seen some of the videos. They've seen the video of what happened to that gentleman. And they asked, and I asked them, do you have any questions about this? And my son said to me, well, why would the police do that? I thought they are there to help people. And I didn't know how to answer that. I don't want to paint all police law enforcement with one brush, but it's hard to explain to a kid that there's, I hate using this term, but there are some bad apples. Because I don't want to take away that innocence. So so what I'm doing on my end, and everybody has a different way of expressing or how they're going to change things or how they're going. You may donate, you may do this or whatever. For me, on my end, I'm instilling the right beliefs and values for my kids to not judge people based on this.
Yeah.
You know, and we're quite fortunate that we live in a neighborhood where I've got there's black people in my neighborhood. There's Iraqi, there's Iranian, there's all different types. We're a regular United Nations here. And my kids have never referred to or asked about skin color. You know, it's my friend, Charles is coming over. Charles is black. You know, they've never asked about that. And I take that as a good sign, right? They've never asked about this kind of stuff. So I think I'm doing something right. And so I guess if you're looking to change things or to that's what I'm doing. I'm working from the ground up because I find it really hard right now to properly express or show that I'm doing things. And I'm not sure if you really have to prove to everybody that you're doing stuff as long as you're doing something. But anyway, that's my whole feeling about that. I really wanted to get that out there. So I hope that makes sense. I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Viber, you have anything you want to say about it?
Oh, wait. You can go ahead, Jason.
I mean, for me, as I'm looking at it, this is just another name on not just. I don't mean to. I'm just saying that this is not a new thing. This has been happening for so long, and it's so systemic on some level that I've run for office here in my local community. I've worked with local communities of color. I've worked with people from lower income backgrounds. There's a lot of things that are against them in the world, and a lot of it is embedded in the institutions that we look to give us order. One of those institutions being the police force. And it might be that 99.9% of all policemen are not bad. I mean, 99.9% of all people don't murder people. But it just so happens that there are some people in that line of work that have made some really poor choices for reasons that I'm not going to hazard to guess. Although with the individual that was in this, there were, I think, 18 other reports of this kind of activity. He'd been reported by citizenry before, so that to me seems like something that should have been paid attention to. I hate the fact that it's a thing. I grew up in West Virginia. West Virginia is a weird place because it's a very poor place, and a lot of the people, regardless of race, nationality, skin color, any of those things, a lot of the people are poor. And what I saw as I was growing up was that poverty was as big a factor in how people separated themselves from other people. So when you have policy, you have poverty and policy and all of this stuff going on in the same place at the same time, and then a group of people who by and large are voiceless in the community to make the changes that that many people want to have happen, but it's very difficult for lower income status folks to get their voices heard in their communities until the terrible thing happens, right? So I appreciate everybody who did like the Blackout Tuesday thing. I appreciate their intent. But at this point, I have seen so much social media activism and people changing their profile pictures or, you know, doing the Blackout Tuesday or whatever. None of this is going to stop. None of this is going to stop until there's a majority of people in the world willing to put skin in the game and say, I'm going to take part in making this stop. And it's not just about the protests. The protests after the fact are people being angry and venting, and it leads to an even more explosive situation. But the thing about this is we have racial profiling in this country because a lot of us are racists. That's just straight up the truth. And a lot, however you got there for whatever reason, I mean, the whole nation was put together on a sort of unequal playing field, and that playing field is never evened out. And between poverty, race, and culture, that we have a lot of people in this country from a lot of different backgrounds who are held out from being a part of what a lot of us who enjoy technology and that kind of stuff and have fun having these conversations, a lot of us are incredibly privileged to be able to have these conversations. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's your life. But a lot of people are held out of the opportunity to change their status and move freely in our culture for many, many different reasons that manifest themselves in many, many different ways. And so I guess my call to anyone who's putting, who's blacking out their Instagram today or anything like that, next time there is a local meeting for your local, any kind of local group that helps the underprivileged or anything like that, if there's a place in your neighborhood or in your community where, child daycare services are needed or anything like that, find a way to be involved in your community to actually put your feet in the shoes of the people. Until these well-meaning people are able to do that, then the big giant void that exists that lets these things happen will remain. Silence is consent. Okay? And putting something on your Facebook page is not speaking out. Silence is consent. And a lot of this stuff is built into our institutions. And a lot of people benefit from the way these institutions work. And institutional racism is something that people need to be able to say, I recognize that, I've benefited from a system that has been unfair to a lot of other people. How can I help make that not a thing? Put up or shut up is the way that I feel about it these days. And I've seen it happen. I've been involved in moments. I can't claim to have had any kind of the experience of being in those situations, but I have tried to support people in my community who have had difficult situations, and done the things that I could possibly do. And It's not easy to do. It's not easy to just to show up. Because you have to admit to yourself that the fact that you need to show up is also admitting some of your culpability in the situation. So I encourage people to take a deep breath, get in the car, go down and show up, even if it's just your local city council meeting talking about affordable housing or whatever. That the school district, go to the school board meetings, try and support people who don't have a voice. Anything that you can do, and all of us can do something besides post on our social media. So that's my 2 cents.
Well said. Well said.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Why are you echo?
It just happens sometimes.
Oh, this is freaky. I can hear myself. This is kind of messed up. But anyway, so Dr. King once said that an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And obviously the prevailing hashtag right now is Black Lives Matter. And you have people answering with no, all lives matter. And you know what? For the last few years, I was one of those people too. I would when people would put out Black Lives Matter hashtag, I'm like, actually, all lives matter. However, I'm going to go back to what Dr. King just said. He said an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. So now thinking about this a few years later, and obviously if I'm talking about this a few years later, I mean, this stuff has been going on for a long time now. I now have a better understanding of the whole Black Lives Matter hashtag, because it doesn't matter if you put up a hashtag saying all lives matter, because if Black lives don't matter, then the all lives matter hashtag simply isn't true. So we need to work on the injustice that Black people are facing all around the world. It's not just here in the U.S., it's all around the world. We have protests and things like that, demonstrations happening all around the world. And we know that the world globally has been racist or whatever for a very long time. Over a century, over 100 years now. So this is nothing new. It didn't just start with George Floyd's murder. It's not going to end with these protests. This stuff is going to keep happening over and over and over again. I think the most important thing to realize is that we just have to be better people. We have to care about each other. We have to give a damn about each other. Basically, as parents, we have to teach our children that, it's okay to love everybody. Racism is kind of a taught thing. You're not born racist. Those are ideologies and beliefs that you were taught. So as parents, it really starts at home and raising our kids properly, raising them to love everybody, raising them to understand that there is no difference in color. We all are human. We all bleed the same blood. I mean, yeah, we might have different thoughts and opinions, but that's okay. The fact that we have different skin colors shouldn't make us view anybody differently. So I think a lot of it starts with how you raise your kids. But as far as what to do right now, what to do today, I think the main thing is to just be the best person that you can be, right? Just realizing that, yes, there are bad cops, but even though there are bad cops, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that I'm not going to say F the police and I hate the police. No. I would gather to say that 90% of the police force are good people. They go out there to do their job lawfully and things like that. Obviously, with anything in life, you have bad actors, as they call them. When we have bad actors on YouTube, you have bad actors in your job. I have bad actors in my job. You have bad actors in the police force. There are always bad people everywhere.
Bad actors in Justice League.
Jesus.
Quiet, Jason. But there are bad actors everywhere. So this is not just a police thing, but obviously it's getting highlighted in the media. So we're concentrating on police. But there are bad people throughout the entirety of life. But that does not mean that all police are bad, because all police officers are not bad.
Right.
The other thing, 4 years ago, Flossie Carter made an excellent video highlighting how young people should handle police encounters. Now, I know this is kind of like going against what's happening right now, but I think that all people, regardless of race, color, should probably go back and watch that video. It's called How Young People Should Handle Police Encounters. And Flossie Carter sat in his car for 45 minutes and told all of us, how to properly handle a police encounter. Because it's not about the cops being brutal and things like that. Let me take it back. It's about that, but it's also about trying to look at it through the lens of a police officer, right? When a police officer pulls you over, a police officer has no idea when he walks up to your car what he or she is getting themselves into when they walk up to your car. They don't know you. They don't know. So obviously they are high alert. So there are things that you can do to de-escalate their tension. And Flossie Carter goes over this in his video. I'm not going to rehash the entire video, but it's just a mindset, like it's the same situation if somebody breaks into your house. You have no idea why they're breaking into your house. But obviously, if somebody breaks into your house, you're going to be on high alert. Now, obviously, the situations are a little different because, cops are doing their job. If somebody breaking into your house, they probably have bad intentions. However, you don't know that. Somebody could be, this is probably unlikely, but somebody could be breaking in your house just to have a conversation with you. It's probably unlikely, but you don't know. So again, when a cop pulls somebody over, they don't know. So if you take the time to see things from their perspective and try to de-escalate their tension, you're probably going to have a positive experience with that police officer on that day. Not to excuse their bad behavior, because again, there are bad apples in the police force, all police forces. But also, you have to understand that police just don't know what the situation they're getting into when they pull you over or when they arrive on a scene or this, that, and the other. So you at some point we just have to step back and look at the bigger picture and not just label everybody as bad because you don't know. The police officers don't know. We don't know. So I would just caution you all, don't try to put everybody under the same grouping of bad. That's just not true. And also try to look at things from outside of your perspective, because people can have different opinions and say things and think things that are different from you, and there's nothing wrong with that. Again, it comes down to being able to handle disagreement. It's okay to disagree. If we all agreed on the same thing, the world will be boring. We will make no progress. There will literally be no progress in the world if we all agreed on the same stuff. So just be open to disagreement and be open to dialogue, and everything else will take care of itself. But at the end of the day, we just have to be better people to each other, and some of the stuff will get better.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I totally agree, and I think one thing that I take away from that message that you just brought forward from that video and a lot of what you said is the world will be a much better place if we could all be self-aware, critical thinkers. Have a little perspective on where you are and the situation that you're in the world that you exist in, and as you say, try and de-escalate the situation. It doesn't have to be that traffic stop situation. It can be a normal everyday situation.
Yeah.
Too many people can get too comfortable and not want to have to really address the hard stuff. I've seen it a lot, and I'm not blaming anybody. I mean, our culture is built on comfort, right? We're sold comfort, and the more comfort that we can buy, the more insulated we become, the less we have to actually engage emotionally in these terrible things that do happen. And I guess I want people to be more self-aware. I want people to be critical thinkers. That's what they're supposed to teach us in school. Mm-hmm. But instead, we learn something else. And I want people to be able to recognize that each of us has a duty and a space in which we can impact this situation negatively or positively.
If you see things happening, speak up. I'm going to give you an example. This past weekend, I had some family over, in the driveway, social distancing and all, right? And a couple of my family members were making racist remarks and saying stupid things about my neighbors. I have a Muslim family that lives next door to me. Really nice people. Really, really nice people. Okay. The people across the street are Italians. I've got a elderly white couple that lives on the other side of us. but this Muslim family that's moved in next door to us last year, they fixed up the place. They've put down new concrete. They've really fixed up the house, and they're taking care of things. We've talked back and forth here and there. Just nice people. They're good neighbors. And one of my family members was saying things that, and within earshot of my kids. And I'm like, hey, I don't appreciate that. It's not true. They're good people. Cut it out. Can I get you another beer? It can be as simple as that. And I'm not going to change those people's minds probably, but I don't want that around my kids. Do you know what I mean? I don't want them to grow up hearing, I don't want to shield them and put them in a bubble and say it doesn't exist, but it's tough to have that conversation with your kids when they see this other family member that they look up to talking like that. Dad, why was so-and-so saying this? Well, it's hard to explain that. So like going back to what I was saying before about, just instilling the proper values, the content of someone's character, not their pigment of their skin color. That's the least that I can do. And like I said, if you're out and about with friends or family, whatever, and you see stuff and you don't agree with it, speak up. Try to speak up. I'm not saying start fights, but speak up. And and to their credit, we've seen plenty of footage out there of these protests and what's been happening after dark, of people stopping other people from things happening, calling out. So there has been plenty of people calling out and holding people that are blending in, these bad actors, and holding people accountable. That's good. Right? That's good.
I mean, let me just say this, because I feel like when these things happen, unfortunately, we say the names of the people, and the names become less and less powerful by repetition. But I want everybody to recognize right now that we had an 8, almost 9 minute long video of a murder that we all watched. And I mean, just really let that sit with you for a second. And again, it's like just the terrible things that can happen. In one of the protests in, I think it was Salt Lake City, a guy got out of his car with a compound bow and arrow and started pointing his hunting equipment at people in the crowd.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
And the next thing I heard was a bunch of people saying, beat the effing crap out of him, and he got swarmed and he got taken down. But that's Lord of the Flies type stuff. That's not who we say we are. Right. And if that's not who we say we are, and yet here we are, we all gotta just like have that moment of clarity to really understand that, like, it's not just on the TV, right? I appreciate Daryl here says, I've been to West Virginia. It's really rough there. Coming from New York City, I didn't know there were people in this country living that far below the poverty line. And it's true. And it's not just West Virginia. West Virginia is a place where you can go, but you can go to Mississippi. You can go to New York City. You can go to a lot of places. I mean, I lived in New York City for 11 years and saw a lot of people who were just really struggling, but if we practiced what we preached, and sometimes I mean that quite literally, practiced what we preached, then this would be a different world. And all I can do is try and be somebody who endeavors to make that happen in whatever small ways that I can do that. So thank you guys for this part of the conversation. I mean, it would have felt disingenuous not to speak about it in some way.
Yeah, there's so many different aspects of the conversation, if you want to call it that. I don't think there's any one single answer. Is it going to be solved overnight? No. No country is, or society is immune to this kind of stuff. I've seen some of my friends and family saying, "Oh, I'm glad we don't have the same problems up here in Canada." Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Highway of Tears, Canada, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we have such a problem with our Native Americans up here, and the residential school system and whatnot, and that's horrible. No one's immune to it. It's everywhere. So, yeah, it's a conversation. I'm glad we had this conversation. I'm glad that we each had to say something. I'm glad that our chat here has been relatively good.
Also, I need you all to not look down or be upset with your favorite creators that are making videos about this situation. I mean, they have a platform. They're choosing to use their platform to speak out about injustice. It's wrong. No, I think we can all agree, no matter what your politics are about the situation is wrong. Like Jason said, we saw a man get murdered on video. It's wrong. There's no two ways about it. What happened was wrong. So if a creator choosing to speak up and make a video about this situation and about how they feel it was wrong, then just be okay with that. I mean, you guys get hundreds of tech videos a year. One video out of that 100 or whatever about this situation and them speaking against wrong and things happening that are wrong, it's not the end of the world. You'll get your tech content back. But right now, me personally, I'm taking a week off from uploading regular video because it's not about tech right now. I mean, we got bigger things going on. So if creators choose to put out videos and their thoughts and feelings about the situation across the world, and let them. It's okay. You'll get your tech content back. You calm down.
I applaud people like Jonathan Morrison, Dom, putting up videos. Good for you guys. And they've attached different charities or whatever to in terms of views or whatever, if you want to donate through those videos and everything. So great for them because they have such huge platforms. Yeah, tech that can take a break for now. This is, hopefully, like you and I were the three of us were talking about this before we went on online here. Hopefully, a week, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, hopefully next month, these conversations are still happening, that things are happening, and the worst thing that could happen is come November 3rd for the United States, that all those people that were out there, changing the profile pictures, hashtags, and that, you don't go and do the one thing you really have some power with, and that's voting, whether it be on the municipal level, the state level, or federal level kind of thing, right? So, put it where it counts kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and this whole thing has impacted the tech community to a certain extent as well. I mean, yeah, I appreciate folks like Jonathan and Dom who put out videos and were speaking their piece. I mean, that's an important thing to do. I think it's important to attach, I think it's important to say, you can do something with your money too, but it's more important that you do something with yourself. If you want your community to change, you can't just throw money at your community, because that does good, but it doesn't solve all the problems. So I applaud people who are in the position to help monetarily, and I encourage them to do so, but you're not paying a bill here. Get out and be a part of your community and do something. And that's, whatever that looks like for you. Folks were talking about the riots and such. I mean, you can see this happen on a 20-year cycle. You look at Rodney King in the 90s. You look at the race riots in the 1960s. You just go back and you look at this stuff happen over and over and over again. And, all the sensitivity training in the world doesn't seem to be helping. So it's going to require more of a concerted effort from everyone. You know, I mean, and like I said, the tech community is being impacted. We've got two different social media platforms with two different reactions to tweets, incendiary, maybe even irresponsible messages being sent out via social media by our president, and these social media platforms reacting to those in different ways. And it's really hard because, okay, so Twitter put a little, has put some disclaimers on some things that have been tweeted out. On the other hand, Facebook has taken a more hands-off approach, and both Facebook and Twitter are privately owned companies, or maybe they're publicly owned, but still they're entities that aren't. It's not like a public utility.
Yeah,
it's not a municipal service, right?
It's kind of like YouTube. Like YouTube is a private.
Yeah, it's a business.
Yep.
It's a business that allows us to express ourselves, but at a certain point, that business might have to say, this is not what we want in our business. And how you do that, and when you do that, and why you do that, I mean, it's okay. I was not the biggest fan of George W. Bush. Just say it right out there. I thought when he was president, not everything went all that swimmingly. However, today he said presidential things about how we need to be reacting in this situation, and it put into stark relief. Like if George Bush can look like a stoic presidential force in contrast to what we've currently got, then, I mean, thank God for George Bush, but also, like, let's have the conversations that we need to have, and no matter which way you feel about it, show up and vote when it's time to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, Donald Trump is not an accident. The current situation that our nation is in, whether or not you want to blame him for it or make him part of it or whatever, he might be a symptom, he might be a cause, he might be both. But it's not an accident. It's not an accident. And we all own that. So
let's leave things on. Sorry, I feel like Viper, did you have something else you wanted to add, or
does Viper have anything else to add?
Before we transition, I just want to make sure we.
Nope, I think we covered everything. Yep.
Okay, so let's all take a deep breath. Right.
Yep.
I thought that went a lot better than what I was anticipating.
I will say to everyone that, like, I was not going to have this conversation.
Yeah.
I did not want to talk about this because I was afraid that I would be saying things in anger that would then really impact negatively on myself, on the people watching and listening to the podcast.
It was important for me to have you speak for both of you, obviously, but more so you, Jason, because as an educator, as a teacher, as an author, someone that has dove deep into the history and whatnot. It was important for me to make sure you got out. Well, that's why I didn't want to. That's why I brought the idea forward to all three of us that, hey, maybe we should say something. That's why I brought it forward yesterday, so we'd have time to think and, kind of let.
My first reaction was,
your first reaction was
no effing way.
Right. And I didn't want to have this conversation because I know people are tired of seeing this all over the news and Twitter and things like that. So I'm like, I don't think we need to keep beating this over the bush, but I'm glad we had the conversation. It was good.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, people do show up to our shows, watch our videos, and that kind of stuff because they, this is a little bit of an escape for them. But reality is reality. Life happens, and when big things are going on, it's worth taking 20 minutes and having a little bit of conversation, showing your humanity as a for us, the people who are like behind the camera, who a lot of people don't see us as actual human beings. You can tell by the comments section.
True story.
But for us to be able to have a conversation about something as difficult, as charged, as just as terrible as this is, and have it not devolve into something that is potentially worse.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we steered the conversation more in the direction of, what each of us is doing or can suggest to maybe make things better. Right.
All right. Transitioning back to tech, though. Tim Cook, I got a message for you, Timmy. I got a message for you, Tim Cook. Listen, man. If these new iPhones don't have picture come iPhone 12 time, Tim Cook, we are about to come take the spaceship at Cupertino. We are taking the spaceship at Cupertino, Tim Cook. You better heed my warnings, baby. We need that picture in these new iPhone 12.
You're talking about the YouTube thing, like you can watch your video up here and keep on doing your thing, right? On Android.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I hate that that's missing on my iPhone. I hate that.
Ooh.
With this, when I put on the dual screen case, I can have YouTube over here.
That's right.
I can have like a whole other thing going on over here.
But that's not an iPhone. I need it on iPhone.
I know. I will admit, I don't use picture in picture all that much on my phone. I would use it a lot more on, like, say, the iPad and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's time to just. They're doing a good job of giving the people what they want. So it's time to bring some of that picture in picture.
We will take the spaceship, Timmy. We're not playing.
I mean, you're echoing. You're saying exactly what I said at the start. That like what we're looking for the WWDC, and I'm looking for more Android type features or whatever it is, widgets for iOS 14. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, it'd be sure nice.
Rashid, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, and I think we don't even have to think of them as Android type features. We don't have to think of it that way. Whoever came up with the idea and put the feature into their operating system, like, a good idea is a good idea. Jason. So you don't have to be proprietary over it, right?
Jason.
Is it an iOS thing, or is it both an iOS and the YouTube app thing?
Jason, you have an iPad Pro currently, correct?
Yes.
So we both know that this feature already exists on iPad OS. So there's no reason it should be on iOS. No reason.
I know.
Oh, it's on here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I didn't know that.
Now, unfortunately, you can only do it through Safari, but still, you can do it through Safari.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but yeah. I'm anxious to see what I saw some renderings, some ideas about what iOS 14 could look like. Some little squared off apps and widgets and stuff like that. I mean, what would happen if we actually broke away from the grid of squares and allowed for some different geometric things to happen?
I'd like to be able to move my, how like the default on an iPhone here, I don't know how well this is going to translate here on YouTube, but how you like everything goes to the top.
Yeah.
I want to be able to move that stuff down below because I've put almost everything in 4 folders along the bottom here. Actually, 3 folders, and I got camera on its own. And I like to just have a clean screen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like that.
One thing that Samsung got a lot of credit for when they came out with One UI is the fact that they shifted the operating system toward the bottom of the phone in a lot of ways. Because I mean, the iPad, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is a gigantic phone. So you have companies around the world working with Android, thinking of the ergonomics, thinking of the design, thinking of the user experience, and those are all things that Apple has been very good at in a lot. But iOS needs iOS needs to sort of evolve.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's
All
a
right,
comment.
Jason.
There's a comment in the chat here. Actually, Viper, maybe you can address this. Okay, where is it? If you pay for YouTube Premium, Daryl D Spivvy says here, pay for YouTube Premium, you can do it on your iPhone. So what that's referring to, Daryl, is that, yeah, if I turn that option on, I can keep on listening to YouTube. But what Viper's talking about is just having like moving that square around on the screen and be able to still watch while you open up another app or whatever. Currently, that's not available on iOS.
Yeah.
Correct. There is no picture-in-picture on iPhone, but like Zach said, if you have YouTube Premium on iOS, you can get background audio. Yeah.
Yeah, and that can be useful if you're listening to like a Joe Rogan clip or something like that. But outside of that, YouTube is visual, right?
yeah. It's so I hope that iOS 14 shows us some things. I'm still unsure about the iPhone hardware situation. I haven't heard that much noise about iPhone hardware. I did hear that the iPhone 12 is potentially going to be getting into the pipeline a little bit more quickly than the other phones. LeBaron Burton, thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated.
$20 super chat. We need to talk about him having shipping up to Canada. I know we've talked about it before. I give him a hard time before. I see all these people getting popcorn, everybody doing popcorn reviews, and I mean, first of all, LeBaron, I mean, he sent me 3 boxes of the stuff for CES, and that was my food for those days at CES. I'm serious, dude. There was days where I woke up popcorn and took some with me and everything. But I see this stuff and I'm like, oh man, I wish I could order some popcorn. Thank you.
All right, Jason. I gotta have my weekly harassing session with you. I gotta harass you again. I need to do this every week until you do what you need to do, Jason. But have you done it yet? Have you done it yet?
I have not.
Come on,
the iPad thing, the
Yeah.
keyboard.
Haven't done it yet. Haven't done it yet.
You're killing me, Jason. You're killing
Dude,
me.
there was a comment on your Facebook page. Did you see that? Someone saying you have the responsibility to order the iPad. I saw it was on your Facebook page, right? You have the responsibility, Jason, to order that and give me a review. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, just do a search. There's like 30. I mean, I'm not taking away from what Jason, but I mean, come on.
I've got channel memberships available. You know, if you want to, you can super chat here on the live stream. If you want to help me out, if you feel like it's really my duty, you know.
Wow, Roberto Blake in the chat. He missed the best part of tonight's podcast. I'm not sure if maybe he was listening, but yeah,
He's probably listening. Roberto, one of those sneaky people. He be listening when you don't think he's there. He's
like
there.
a Froster, he's always listening.
He's around.
Yeah, there's a Painfully Honest Tech Facebook page. There's a personal Facebook page that I have as well.
Yeah. But did you see that comment, Jason?
I rarely go to Facebook. That's
I have alerts on for your.
people don't really know that there's a Facebook page because
I have alerts on for your page, and I'm like, because the only time I go on Facebook is like to get updates from my sister because she's gonna have a baby soon and maybe post something to my page, and I saw so and so commented on and. You have the responsibility to do a review on the Apple, and I'm thinking, is that Viper's other account?
Viper's got a shadow account. He's just gonna harass me on Facebook.
Oh man, I do all my damage on Twitter.
yeah. It's I really want to. I really want to do it. I'm still just having a little sticker shock. Still a little sticker shock. That's the biggest part. Still some sticker shock going on.
It's $400, isn't it, or $300?
$350 for the 12.9 inch.
It's like 500 Canadian. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Jeez.
It's a lot. And look at Doug Houston coming in with the coming out from the shadows.
I'll tell you,
That's
man.
sneaky. He's Australian, right?
The Lurk Squad is real. Yes, he is.
Yeah, you can't trust those Australians.
I know.
Just kidding.
Isn't it like tomorrow there now? Well, look at LeBaron.
Yes, get him! Get him! Yes!
Okay.
Woo! Okay,
All
so
right.
you describe for the people that are listening, like why we're all.
LeBaron, who just dropped $20 into the super chat bucket, just laid a 50 spot in the super chat bucket and took care of about what is that? a little bit like 1/5 or so of the price.
So that deserves a
Yeah,
Science.
and a couple of that. And I'll even go here. And
Oh my goodness!
okay, so you guys can make it a lot easier and just keep going. But
I was waiting for that.
but I
Woo.
the people have spoken. Okay. Now I still can't actually get one. It's still temporarily out of stock on Amazon, and it's like 3 weeks waiting off of Apple's website, but I'll get one. Yes, it's Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. That's what I said. It's tomorrow in Australia right now. It's crazy.
You better order that keyboard, buddy.
Actually,
I would-
Jason. Oh, give me 1 second. I'm gonna check them real quick, Jason. Hold on 1 second.
Was he checking stock levels? He's
I'm checking something. Come on. Hold on.
He's checking.
Okay.
I'm checking something real quick. All right. No. There we go.
Dead air, Barry.
Dude,
Give me a minute.
you have to Viper, look up. Look at
Oh
the
my
chat.
goodness. Oh,
yes, I like it.
okay.
Hey.
Thank you, the poets. I will fulfill my duties now.
I like how you put the penny on there. Just
Yeah,
you know,
just a little bit of a step up. Just a little +1. Nice. Thank you, man.
All right, Jason. You can if you get it from Verizon, it's shipped by June 12th.
June 12th.
Yep.
All right. I'll do some shopping around tomorrow and see where I can get it the soonest. Like I'm tempted to do the Amazon thing because Amazon just says temporarily out of stock, and I'm thinking that the way Amazon does things is they might get some in, but they already have orders, so they fulfill the orders. So then they just I don't know. I'll figure it out tomorrow, but I'll get one. Okay, I've been convinced.
so now we've entered the magic keyboard financing section of the podcast.
Yes. No, I've been wanting to really check it out. Now the will of the people will be done, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the help, guys.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah. So what else do we have to talk about this
I don't
evening?
know. I think we should end on that, or maybe we can keep on.
No, we're not done yet.
Oh, okay. Viper's got something else in store.
Oh, Doug Houston.
Doug, bringing the Australian dollars to the party. Thank you.
What does that convert to? I don't even know what their dollar.
No,
All right, let's go. All right, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, baby. There we go. Not done yet. We're not done yet here.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh, even when the co-hosts start dropping stuff into the super chat, then it's serious at that point.
Serious, baby. Let's go.
At that point, it's serious. Okay. I will, before the week is over, I will have ordered one, and hopefully one will be on its way to me quickly.
It's a nice rainbow at the top here when you look at all the different.
I know. You got some pink, you got some yellow, you got some orange. It's nice. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for all that. Much appreciated. And I will do my part, and hopefully, I think part of it is like I'm afraid that I'll hate it.
Oh, I know you will.
You will not hate it. You might not like the battery life, but you'll get over it.
Okay. All right. Because I am a typing snob, for one thing.
You have the first gen, right?
I have
You have this one, right? Single camera.
yeah, I have the 2018 12.9.
Okay, so this is the 11. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I've been using the Logitech Slim Folio case, which the keyboard on that is very nice, except for the right-hand shift key is like sticky now because I spilled some coffee in it. So when I try and do a little
their fault.
Well, when I try and do a question mark now, sometimes I just end up with a /. But so if you see me asking questions on Twitter with a / instead of a question mark, then you'll know it's because I haven't cleaned out the coffee mess from my.
I'll reply back with that sticky key.
Yeah, but Apple's getting a lot of kudos for their keyboards here in 2020. So There are people who say that the 13-inch MacBook Pro is worth buying just because of the new keyboard.
Jermaine King with $4.99. Have courage.
And yeah, I will have the courage. I will have the courage to take the risk and go magical.
I love the way our podcast just like this is why you have to, like, if you're listening right now on Thursday or whatever day, you have to try to join us here on a Tuesday because it goes in all sorts of different directions.
It certainly does.
We may not have our own headphones, Greg.
Yeah, I know. We don't have our logo on hats.
Yeah, Travis.
I think the people were tired of me ragging on Jason, so they're like, "All right, we gotta get this done tonight. We gotta get this done."
I love it, man. That's great.
Yeah. Let the people speak, man. Let the people speak. But yeah, okay. So you've chastised me, and then incited this windfall. So what else do we have to talk about?
Greg, he showed up. Greg showed up in the. I said his name once, and he showed up. Hey,
He been here the entire time though.
you never know who's watching.
I saw him in the chat a little bit earlier. But
Yeah, he's been here for a while. I think we should probably end it on that note. We should end it on a high note.
Yeah. I think Viper that you're right. A little bit of applause for everybody tonight. This was a good show.
Yes, science.
I really appreciate everybody. The super chat's been wonderful. The humor's been wonderful. Talking about all this stuff has been wonderful. 504 is here with his 504 Painfully Honest Magic Keyboard Fund. And I'm all right. A little quack for you there. Yeah. There's a lot of good times ahead of us. It's going to be a good year. I know it's going to end up that way somehow. But for Viper, Zach, myself, thank you all so much for being here, having a great conversation, being part of this podcast. I hope you come back next week. And until the next time, we're out.